it's probably trying to do something. Yeah, we're recording. So I think we're live, Lou. We're probably on air, and I think it's just spinning wheel of death. So I think what I'm going to do is simply assume we're live.
Yeah, we are.
We are. And then say, hello, everybody. Welcome to Brainfood Live on Air. I'm bringing it to you every week, no fail. And we're having a bit of a giggle here because we've still got me and Louise are still seeing the spinning wheel of death. And
No, I can see it. I can see it. I don't see that anymore. We're fine.
Right, so I'm just seeing the spinning wheel of death. That's fine. I'm just, and everyone's grayed out, which is also fine. But yeah, I'm going to continue as if all is good. So, folks, let me know if you can hear and see me okay. We need the chat here, loud and clear. Thank you very much, Michael. Thank you, Daniela. Thank you, Kalpesh. Everyone is giving me good advice, good input here. Fantastic stuff. We should be broadcasting this live on LinkedIn, by the way, multiple places on LinkedIn. So if you're watching this on LinkedIn, do let me know whether you can hear and see me okay. I should be, yes, I can see myself on LinkedIn, so I should be all right. Thank you very much. Okay, we're ready to roll. Folks, I'm very excited about this show today. Reason why is because I've had a sneaking suspicion that the world of recruitment agency have been very progressive when it comes to using technology to increase and improve their business efficiency. And today I wanted to bring on some of the great and good from the staffing side of the market to discuss what does the recruitment agency look like in 2028. So we are forecasting 2 years down the track. If business goes according to the way it's going now, if technology goes according to the way it does now, what does the shape of a recruitment business look like in 2028? That is the topic of today's show. Okay, cool. Let's get on with it. Everyone can hear and see me okay. We have Louise Tryons here, of course. Louise, wonderful to see you as usual. For the folks who don't know you, Louise, why don't you quickly introduce yourself? Who are you? What it is you do?
So I do lots of things. I've been in the recruitment agency space for 30-ish years. I run UK Recruiter. I do the program for the Recruitment Agency Expo. I run events for job boards. Love job boards. And I work for Crowdcast, which is why we were giggling at the start of this.
A few giggles. So Louise is basically a sort of a participant supporter of all of this stuff going on. So you're going to help me navigate through it as I can't see half the controls, but I'm sure we're going to be all right.
I can invite people on stage for you. So if we have a problem, just give me the nod.
That's it. Might get you permanently on here, Louise. And Louise, you were actually at the Recruitment Agency Expo yesterday because you're in charge of organizing the program, aren't you? So I wonder whether you could give us a quick overview how that event went. What did you see that was interesting? What was the general vibe? Because that's all totally relevant to the conversation right now.
Yeah, it's interesting. No one did talk about the what recruitment's going to be like in 2028. I wish they had. I'd have sat in that session. I'd have been better prepared. So I am responsible for the main stage talk, so not the showcase pitch talks. It's the people who are invited to speak. I mean, it was great. There was a real variety of people. The only talk I saw all the way through was Ben Fogle because I had to stand at the side of the stage, the mic, and tell you what, he is an incredible storyteller. So he was talking about the stuff he did with James Cracknell, who'd spoken the previous year, but wow, can he tell a story well? So he was properly captivating. And where did he learn that skill alongside everything else he's learned?
That is another thing we need to talk about Brainfood Live on storytelling. How do you do it? I think it's going to be a very important sort of skill set. I mean, it's not only about public speaking, but it's about crafting a story that resonates with your audience, irrespective of what sort of method or a sort of mode that you're using. So yeah, it's going to be super relevant.
You see Nicola's comment?
Nicola, private. She's probably right. Yeah, there's a lot of finishing going on there. You know, it does help you. Anyway, listen, we have to thank our sponsors before we go any further, because without our sponsors, we cannot do this show. The Brainfood Live is always sponsored, by the way, every single week, multiple times a week. Sometimes we get companies stepping up and saying, "Hung, this conversation needs to keep going. We're going to sponsor it." And this week, we're delighted to be sponsored by, I think, one of the coolest companies that have arrived on the scene in 2025. It is Hire Inc. Wonderful product do lots of interesting things with different types of folks in the recruitment space. We actually have the CEO, John. He is with us right here. So I'm going to bring him on stage if I can. And he's going to tell us all about it. John, you should get a kind of a pop-up to get you on screen. Let me know if that doesn't happen. And we'll get Louise to pull a few sort of tricks out of the bag to get her on. No need to raise hands, folks. We'll get you on in due course. Is he still invited? Yes, he is. Did I accept him? There we go. Cool.
Hey.
There he is.
Hi. Great to see you again.
How you doing, John? Great to see you, man. Where are you these days, John? You're a roving individual, aren't you? So you're sometimes in London, sometimes in Cairo, sometimes in the US. Where are you right now?
All over the place. I actually just landed in Denver, Colorado last night. So it's 7 a.m. here, but super glad to be on.
Okay, I'm sorry, man. What are you doing in Colorado, just out of interest?
We have a lot of customers out here, so I'm actually just meeting some of our team customers and doing the rounds.
Yeah, fantastic stuff. John, why don't you quickly introduce the business? What is it? What is hiring? Who should care about it? I've just shared John's link, by the way, into the Crowdcast chat. Go and connect with John. Tell us about hiring, John.
Yeah, so we're a kind of all-in-one AI platform. Again, we have a traditional kind of ATS with sequences. You can set up interviews, and we have interview recordings and interview notes all in one place. We have client portals for agencies because most of our clients and customers are staffing agencies and companies in the recruitment space there. And then we have a ton of AI tools for reporting, for sourcing, and for job creation and research. So the job creation and research feature is something that we've been advertising a lot in the last 2 months, mainly because it was highly advised by the comment section of the Brainfood podcast. So we were on 2 podcasts ago, and the team here a lot was talking about, it'd be great to have some sort of AI to do a lot of the research process and helping figure out, a lot of the steps or a lot of the information about a role before going out to fill it. And so what we ended up doing is we created this system here where you could just type in what you're looking for, and the AI would actually go out, do a lot of the research there for you, and then make a full editable page where you can then immediately one-step publish your results to a bunch of different job boards, as well as kind of the hiring job board. So this is an example. We just typed in senior sales manager in Philly. Rather than having to do this separately in GPT and then do a lot of your research on your own and then type everything in and copy everything in, everything is already filled out one place. If you want to change anything, you just click, tap, and you can change. Same with any kind of education requirements about the role, about the company, job descriptions, job requirements, and then you get a whole kind of on the right side here, you get an overview of what it's looking like in the market in terms of demand, competitiveness, salaries, things like that. And again, everything's filled out here for you. In New Philly, Philadelphia, and then you can just go in here and start hiring for the role. You can set up your pipeline the way you like, and then once you save, you have that in your board here. You can start fulfilling and adding candidates, dragging and dropping them, and I have other roles here that we can quickly look at. Everything feels very, very smooth, very AI native, with all of your interviews in one place, attached to your candidates. All the PDFs and any resumes you have are parsed in one place. And again, there's a reason why staffing agencies love using this. And we have a special offer for Brainfood listeners. So Brainfood 90, you get 3 months free. And if you're currently on another ATS, we have kind of a guarantee that we'll have a clean migration and undercut pricing. So we want to make sure everyone can have the best deal possible.
I love the offers, John. Thank you so much for doing that. That's fantastic stuff. So let me get this right. It's basically free use for 3 months. Is that correct?
Yeah.
That's amazing, folks. If you're looking for an upgrade on your sort of ATS or kind of any system that you're using to process candidates, let's look at two kind of bogged down into the terminology. If you're in a recruiting space and you're looking for something that's going to help you become more efficient, check out hire.ing. John, what is the kind of ICP for you guys? I mean, maybe that can help in some way. Have you nailed it down in terms of like what is the type of recruiter that is best suited for this?
Yeah, we work a lot with agencies across Europe and the US. So that's kind of been staffing agencies just across the board have been our bread and butter. We have a lot of solo recruiters that want something, with some amount of power. But it's not quite at the enterprise level yet. Like for like large scale enterprise, like we love, Ashby Greenhouse Lever. But for anyone, really into like the space of 1 to 10 recruiters, this is kind of a great product and very affordable relative to competitors. And again, you get everything in there, so you don't have to worry about like integrations with with different tools. You get all the you get a Chrome extension, you get your job boards. You can publish across different places and your interview notes all in one place.
Yeah, fantastic. So basically, optimal if you're a one in sort of a company, small solopreneur, or up to 10, 20 type of agents in your business, and you want an all-in-one service, all-in-one product, this is the product for you. Cool. Thank you so much for sharing all of the links into the chat there. We'll make sure if you're watching this on LinkedIn, you'll get all of this stuff as well. But yeah, great stuff, John. Thank you so much for sharing it. And yeah, well, I hope you continue staying with us in the rest of the show as we bring on the rest of our guests, and we'll see where we go. By the way, John, before we let you go, can you? We might as well ask you the question: as a vendor selling into the recruitment agency marketplace, how would you answer the question as to what a recruitment agent looks like in 2028? Where do you see? I mean, do you see a particular type of company coming to the fore, a typical structure? What kinds of people are going to be working in agency side? Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, so I think generally quite opinionated around the fact that I think I do a lot in AI and spending a lot of time playing with these tools, and the tools themselves are getting increasingly powerful, and they're getting really, really smart in the sense of being able to understand how to parse candidates and make assessments on candidates that are on par with the taste profiles that we create. But I think recruitment is one of those things that will never actually be able to be replaced, because it's we never be able to be fully replaced because it's so human based, right? So it's so contingent on personal referrals, relationships, and meeting people in the real world. And for employer branding, especially, we've done a lot with like AI we've tested a lot with AI doing interviews or these kind of one-way calls and things. And it often doesn't land very well or get the results that companies want, because at the end of the day, candidates want to feel respected and want to meet real people. And you're much more likely to land a candidate if you actually meet with them and invest into that relationship. So given that everything is around relationship building, I think there's going to be a kind of a future here where we'll be relying on AI for a lot more of kind of the admin management work, where you might be having AI do a lot of sourcing and helping with drafting content and emails, at scale. And for organization, you can kind of maybe think of like an ATS in 5 years, kind of lining up all your interviews and doing everything for you that you might normally have to spend time on within your own ATS. Just make time for you to just spend all of your time meeting people. So I'd imagine there'll be like more in-person events, right? Like more things like this, where like there are communities and recruiters actually networking, really taking advantage of like referrals. Because the one thing that I found that AI it really suffers and it doesn't do well is it's limited to the data that it has. So and there's so much data on the ground that the AI just doesn't know, right? There are these all these cool systems out there and all these AI tools for sourcing and outreach and everything, but it doesn't know the communities that you know. So kind of it's always going to be inherently limited because it's not in the real world. It's limited to what's publicly available on LinkedIn and online. But there's a lot of just context and information that's missing. So
there's a huge amount of no, there's a huge amount missing. I think until we're getting to understand that AI that we currently think of AI is not an embodied thing. And without embodiment, I think it's always going to have those huge gaps. And even if it is embodied, it then depends on how we then handle and deal with an embodied intelligence. Are we going to treat it in the same way as we treat a human being? I very much doubt it. So yeah, I think there's going to be space for humans to play, but it will be a big transformation. John, thank you so much for joining us. That's wonderful stuff. Let's bring on some of our guests here. We might drop you back in, John. We might have to do a sort of an on and off type of scenario, and then we'll see how we go. Louise, this is quite an interesting scenario here, because my screen is currently grayed out. I'm unable to bring people on and off the stage. So I might need you to kind of sit John out, and then swap him in for maybe James, if that's possible. James Osborne.
Done one half of it. James, and you have to look at the side of my head while I find James Osborne. James.
I've found him. Don't worry. I can invite him on. You've got to kick him off. That's the difference. So James is invited. I'm going to get Kalpesh on right now as well. I forget who. Keith. Maybe get Keith on as well. Nick, we'll bring you on a bit, okay? Let me get Keith on. There's a few more people that are meant to be coming on, but I will figure out sort of what all that looks like as we go forward.
Hi, Louise. Long time no see.
I know.
24 hours.
All right, James. How you doing, mate?
I'm very good. How are you doing, mate? And
How are we doing, everyone?
Long time no see as well.
Twice in 2 days.
Twice in 2 days.
Hi, Kalpesh. How you doing? All right, listen, this is good stuff. Let's go through some intros whilst we get Keith on. James, of course, everyone knows you already, but why don't you quickly introduce yourself? Who are you? What it is you do?
Thanks, Hung. So James Osborne, non-exec director and advisor to the recruitment sector and co-founder and chairman of the Recruitment Network, which is a large global community of recruitment agency owners, recruitment agencies and advisors. We all hang out together to do three things: maximize performance, productivity, and profitability.
Yeah, fantastic stuff. And what a wonderful network that is. I'm delighted to interact with TRN. Fantastic group of folks. And we have Kalpesh here as well. Kalpesh, can you quickly introduce yourself? Who are you? What it is you do?
It's a good question. So hi, I'm Kalpesh. I am a true recruiter and proud of it. 28 years in industry. I am a board advisor, chair. I help high growth recruitment companies, rec tech, HR tech, everyone in that future work ecosystem we call today, try and find a way to thrive and survive.
Yeah, fantastic stuff. Great to see you, Kalpesh. And we have Keith here as well. Keith, wonderful to see you. Can you quickly introduce yourself? Who are you? What it is you do?
Good to see you, Hung. Thanks for having me on today. My name is Keith Langbo. I have a recruitment agency that is headquartered in the U.S., Raleigh, North Carolina, expanded to the U.K. and EMEA last year. We do recruitment, retained recruitment, as well as executive search at it, and have been building out our AI solutions for the past 2+ years.
Yeah, fantastic. Keith, I think your audio is a little bit off. I don't know whether anyone else heard that. You might want to just fiddle with it just a little bit. I wonder whether if you've got headphones or something, you can go and grab those. It might be useful. Thank you very much, Keith. Okay, cool. Let's get on with the question while Keith gets plugged in. Where does the recruitment agency sort of landscape look in 2028? Let's be courageous with this. I want to know about, do you think there'll be more or less people doing the job of recruitment agent? Under what structure are they going to be doing it? Will they be doing it under more companies, for instance? Are we going to see increasing fragmentation of recruitment agencies, more solopreneurs? Or do we get together and we start kind of coalescing back to big, mega agencies again? Do we have a floating population of part-time recruiters? People who can pop in the odd deal here or there, but it's not full-time for them. There's a huge amount of people that cycle in and out of the recruitment agency market, for instance. We all know this. Is there a future in which we could kind of tap into that marketplace and bring them back in some sort of part-time capacity? Or does it all stay more or less as it is? I mean, maybe all of the change narrative is just narrative. And we're seeing a lot of technology, but you know what? Is it just a lick of paint on a car we've been used to driving and we've always been driving? So, James, go to you on this. What's your speculations, man?
Yeah, well, I think you've covered pretty much everything off there in one sentence. I think it's brilliant. I think my forecast is pretty simple on this. The industry is going to be very, very different. It is feeling very different already. and it will continue to evolve and continue to change. I think the core principles and fundamentals of our industry will never change and will never go away, but the wrapping is going to be different in how we get there. I think there will be a lot of solo recruiters, solopreneurs, lots of small recruitment companies spinning off, because now with tech and AI, a one-person business can act and behave like a 10-person business. So that's really exciting. I think recruitment companies, therefore, by default, generally be smaller, but they will be more profitable than they have been for many years, which I think is good. And I think they will be significantly utilizing technology to do all of the heavy lifting within the business. The piece that I don't think that will ever go away is the piece around the human side. And I say that not because I'm desperately trying to hold on to the industry that I love. I'm saying it because actually the more and more AI that comes into our world, the less and less we trust things that we see and engage with. Classic example, if you look at all the videos that have come out over the last 3 or 4 days from Sora, you get a sense of actually like, what the hell can we believe anymore? And the only one thing I can definitely believe is a human. And so go back into what's the most important thing in my life. It's looking for a new job. It's taking a new job, taking a new position, hiring people within my business. I need to be able to trust I've got the right person behind me to do that. So the heavy lifting behind the scenes, and then the human side on front is how I see it.
Yeah, very good, James. Let's stay with this just a little bit, because you mentioned that there'll be more solopreneuring going on simply because of the empowerment that AI can give maybe to a smaller group. Mm-hmm. What do you reckon? Like what's the optimal size of a recruitment company in 2028? Would you say?
There's no optimal size. I think there's an optimal profitability level. If you think about every recruitment company, it's a commercial business that needs to generate a certain level of profitability, whether they're trying to build a business for a capital event or whether they're trying to just build a great lifestyle business, irrespective. So to me, the optimal size is based on the optimal level of profitability that you can throw off in a business. I've got some people that I work with who were 50, 60 headcount. They're now about 24, 25 headcount. On one side, you could look at that, the vanity metrics, and you can go, they've really failed over the last couple of years. I look at them and go, they're twice as happy, they've got twice as much profitability, and their business is in a really, really bloody good place to capitalize on the marketplace. So, does that mean they're optimized? I think they probably are at this level sort of stuff. So the vanity metrics of our industry that we've always been quite used to, what's your headcount, what's your turnover, all that type of stuff, have become less and less relevant over the last 2 years, probably more than anything because people have had their backs against the wall a little bit and they've had no choice. Going forward, that's now become a new habit. So now we're becoming obsessed by the profitability, the growth potential of our net contribution, rather than all the stuff at the top. That's really exciting. And we can use AI. If you bear in mind, the whole concept of AI is about increasing productivity and efficiency. That really is what this is all about right now. We're in a productivity revolution, and I think it's bloody good.
Yeah, really good. I totally get what you're saying. So previously there was a bit of a kind of, as you say, vanity metrics, how big your company was, how high the sort of top line revenue figure was. Now it's about what's the profitability of your business. And in fact, there's almost like a promotion of the smaller is better type of vibe going on. Particularly that's happening in engineering and software engineering. That's the sort of the new target that people are trying to achieve is, can you get to unicorn status with 10 software engineers? That seems to be the new thing. Whereas, 10 years ago, it was like, how many engineers can you hire this month? So that type of vibe is bleeding into our world as well. Keith, let's switch to you. How do you see it? You're an operator of a recruitment agency right now. I guess I don't want you to give away any sort of, what your strategic intent is or anything like that. So don't disclose any secrets, Keith. But how are you going to sort of steer your ship towards this future? Like, where do you think you're going to land in 2028 in terms of size, shape, the type of agent you're going to have in the company? What does all that look like for you?
Yeah, it's a great question. And hopefully the audio is a little bit better now and you can get a little bit
faster. Yeah, much better.
Perfect. I agree with James, right? I think we're going to continue to use tech and AI to do some of the heavy lifting and to empower our humans. I don't think the humans are ever taken out of this, but I do think that as we look towards 2028, we need to look at two questions. What's the workforce going to look like? And therefore, what do recruiters need to look like? And then what is the data need? And what's going to define in terms of quality data? What's going to make a great hire in 2028? And as I think about the future workforce, I think about increased flexibility, increased workforce on demand sort of ideas. And so I think that recruitment agencies, to your point of being smaller, more nimble, are going to have to be more nimble, more fast, more iterative, be able to react to change faster, because I think we're seeing a good example of what AI is doing to change and evolve the market right now. I think in 2028, we're going to be moving at a exponentially faster rate. And so our ability to adapt to markets quickly, to adapt to change, and to get into the more, I'll call it predictive hiring stage versus the reactive, I need somebody that has this skill. We can look ahead in terms of a kind of a gap analysis between what we currently have on our teams through an internal workforce assessment or workforce data against our future project load and where we're trying to go as a business, and predictably start to hire out for our clients 6 to 12 months in advance, ideally. I think a lot of the workforce as well, if you look out 3 years, oh my goodness, or 2 years, I guess, since we're almost into 26, I think we're going to see more and more of the individual solopreneurs that are working at 5 or 6 different projects, and more of a gig workforce, a gig economy. And so I think that recruiters need to be able to supply the answer to that. So when we go to our clients, I'm not just going to be trying to help them fill a direct role on their team or even fill a contract role. I might be helping them fill a agentic solution with one of our agentic partners around the world. I might be trying to help them fill certainly a contract or freelance sort of role, or a fractional or offshored or outsourced or whatever it may be. With FTEs, because we've all ridden this roller coaster ride the last 25, 30 years that I think this group has ridden it, the FTEs are probably going to be the last choice in hiring. So I want to build an agency that's flexible and nimble and able to adapt to that.
Hun, can I just touch on that point? Oh, sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I wanted to touch on a point that Keith made, which I think is absolutely spot on. Is that focusing on actually what do our end user customers look like in the future? Because obviously that will then determine what the product suite is going to look like, and therefore our businesses as agents. And I think as an agency world, and I think one of the points that Keith made, which is actually spot on, and we're already working on some of these projects with some of our members at the moment, which is actually building out a talent solution, which is where I place with you talent solutions, which include people and agentic AI at the same time. So you've now got recruiters who traditionally were moving bodies around in the nicest sense of the word. And I'm not saying that in a crude way. I'm just like, that's sort of how recruitment sort of worked a little bit. So now we're actually going in there, basically going, your business tomorrow needs to be a bunch of agentic AI. You need to have people here. You need to have contractors here. My job is to come in here and actually provide you that complete solution, the end-to-end solution.
Yeah, very good. I was about to apply. I mean,
I think
coming on this.
James, to further that, because we're cutting off again.
All right, I'm not sure. Is Keith phasing in and out, or am I phasing in and out? I have no clue.
No, it's Keith. I think it's a little bit internet connectivity, just from the blurriness, I think.
Okay, no worries. By the way,
folks, the first time in Raleigh, North Carolina, that we have dark skies, and so I think the internet's going in and out a little bit. Sorry about that.
I'm with you, Keith. I'm literally staring at a grayed out screen. I can't see anybody's facial expressions. It's like I'm like in the twilight zone. So I'm with you here, Keith, in spirit. Kalpesh, let's bring you on this. We're talking about sort of what's your view on 2028. I mean, you're a recruiter, you're an investor, you're a person that organizes tech communities and everything. What's your general take on shape and structure of recruitment agents in 2028? I mean, how does it look from your perspective?
So I'm going to take you back to the last 48 hours, and I'll apologise to anyone that's had the misfortune of talking to me in a bright orange jumper at the Rec Agency Expo and me asking searching questions. And James is going to laugh in a minute. So I've got a hypothesis, and I'm going to test the hypothesis on how many people work in recruitment today as recruitment consultants. How different is it from 2019, and how is it going to look different moving forwards? So just for ease of today, let's just say there's about 200,000 recruiters in the UK, and I'll stick to the UK for now, right? I think if I had to fast forward to 2028, the job of a recruitment consultant will be different. The approach of maybe the tools that they use may be different. I think we will still have, give or take, 200,000 recruiters working in the UK market. The key fundamental difference will be, and if you think about the distribution from 2019 to today of where those recruiters are sitting, right? The big guys used to account for a big chunk of that headcount. They're not there anymore. It is solos. It is mid-market players that are getting that are setting up boutique shops, either running talent pools and spotting particular sectors, or that's following particular industries. So I think moving forward, the key thing, my gut feel tells me, and I'm happy to come back once I've got the data, that I think give or take will be the blend of the industry will be there or thereabouts. The jobs that people will be doing will be different though, right? And what should happen?
Way, Kalpesh?
So I think we're going to start seeing career coaches. I think the traditional 360 recruiter or 180 in terms of what we know today, those actual definitions may change, right? Especially taking both Keith and James's point of if the blended workforce as we know it, and I feel sorry for HR managers and directors today, right, at corporates, if you're now talking about your blended workforce being FTEs, contractors, consultants, digital twins, stroke agentic, stroke whatever we're going to call it tomorrow, AGI professionals, all of a sudden the workforce of a client is going to be changing. And I think just as a look, let's give a bit of a nod to one of the big guys, right? If you look at the announcement Adecco put out earlier this year, that they have partnered with Agentforce to offer digital employees. Now, for anyone that's from Adecco on the call, I apologize now. I'm not sure that model is going to work the way it's done today, but the principle of what they've started doing is the future, right? So I think so the first thing is that the blend of the workforce is going to be the same. I think like give or take 200,000, but different jobs. Number two, the technology that you employ. And we saw some incredible technology being showcased at the expo, right? Recruiters are now going to have to get on page with this AI thing is coming. It's here now, right? You don't have a choice of engaging or not engaging. You have to now work out how do you embed it in your workflows to give a better service to your clients, to give a better service to your candidates, to match better, to manage relationships, and to pick the point up that's been mentioned a few times, how do you optimize your profitability?
Very good, Kalpesh, and thank you for being brave enough to stick numbers behind this. I thank all the guests for doing this, by the way. They're sticking their necks out for no good reason, other than me asking them to do it. So it's interesting you mentioned Adecco, but because we've seen some of the big players all invest very heavily with regards to technology-first solutions. We know Randstad are doing it. We've seen Hudson kind of roll out a new brand. We've seen all of these big companies do it. Are the big boys kind of looking at this and thinking, right, we're going to transform ourselves into a technology company? And does that then leave the space?
They don't have a choice. It's coming. It's coming.
Let me say this. Does that then leave the space for the human first approach for these smaller players then? This is sort of what James is intimating sort of in the first instance. So the unit economics, if you like, don't work at the top end, but it might work at the middle bit.
We're going to be back to mid-market players being boutiques, super specialists, actually owning clients, owning industries, and taking Keith's point earlier on, right? Look, we're working on the premise that at the moment the question was how many recruiters are going to be in 2028, right? Well, let's go take it up a level. How many industries won't exist in 2028 that exist today? How many new industries are coming? How many industries are merging together to create a new class? So what Adecco and S3 and Hayes and Randstad and Allegis and the other ones that make up the top 50 list, they're all looking at going, right, we now have to be either a recruiter and a technology company, a recruiter and a management consulting company, right? So we're going to see a whole new asset class of industries pop up. But what it still means, and I will stick my neck out on this one, recruiters are still important. They're not going anywhere. We are still required. One of the biggest challenges companies have is how do you make sure that human capital that you need to run your business exists? And if you can't find it, who do you go and find? It's a bit like if you can find the A-team, you can hire them, right? Who do you go and find that can find the missing talent that you don't know that you need today?
Kalpesh, I completely agree with everything that everyone said. And again, sorry for the audio issues. I will say I agree, and we need the humans up front. I think a lot of the big players out there are becoming the recruitment and the tech, as many like myself are as well. I think the third component to that is that we are also becoming data companies. And at some point, when you look at the flexible blended workforce, we can't just look at the recruitment side of this. We need to look at the entire employment life cycle. And so because we're looking at workforce assessments and learning and development and eventually succession planning and so on, especially with an in and out workforce and a blended workforce, I think we need to be almost data companies in front of the tech or in front of some of the other parts. I don't want to take the human out of the recruitment side or out any side of this at all. But we do need the data in order to improve our recruiting, in order to better improve our conversations and so on. I think one big piece that's missing, and I'll be curious your thoughts, is getting the feedback loop all the way 360 on that AI and on that data. We're having it doing heavy lifting, but is it giving us enough guidance throughout the recruitment process, throughout the conversations, throughout the performance reviews, if you will, with our employees? And how are we creating that feedback and 360 loop so that we're continuously analyzing and instructing and guiding our humans, whether it be recruiters or leaders, to run the businesses?
Can I
agree
respond
with what you said? I'd think data on top.
Can I respond to a couple of these points, please, if that's okay? I think Kalpesh and Keith are absolutely spot on. I think to Keith's point around the data, I definitely agree. I think there's another part to this, though, that we often don't talk about as much. So you've got data on one side, but then you've also got the sentiment and the insights on the other side. And both are absolutely critical in this equation. I think the humans can provide the insights and the sentiment data. It's the data itself is the other part of it, which I think you can use through technology. But with one without the other just doesn't work for me. In the same way, I've never believed in an economist in my entire life, but I will believe a social economist. So that's number one. The second part I'll say is that the thing, going back to the place that Kalpesh's point and predictions about the sort of the what's been going on and what our industry will look like. The reality is, if I'm brutally honest with you, if you look at the recruitment sector, it's been fairly broken for quite some time. And it's one of those industries that tends to do really, really well and can sort of cover up the cracks that it's slightly broken in a boom market, which we had in the post-COVID boom. When the market sort of flattens and softens a little bit, the breakages the cracks start to really uncover themselves. If you're a small business and you're in a sort of mid-sized business, you can pretty much flex the business pretty quickly and reinvent yourself pretty quickly. But the big companies take a lot longer to be able to do so. They've got much greater overheads and costs and everything else. So the reality is, larger organizations, when you see the reports going when large companies down by 10%, 15%, I don't think that's necessarily representative of our industry. I think that's those organizations that are basically having to right-size themselves from a profit point of view. The only way, or not one the only way, one of the ways that you can right-size yourself from a profit point of view is you start becoming more of a tech-driven, tech-type business. And by doing so, and AI has just popped up on the doorstep over the last couple of years to allow them to be able to do so. So I think they're quite comfortably going, well, okay, market's down and it's a bit tighter. We need to reinvent ourselves. We're going to make ourselves better in the future. We're going to make ourselves more future relevant and future fit. And the way to do that is to be a smaller business, but reinvest in technology and process and different types of products and services. So I think we're just going through a right sizing of our industry, which our industry probably needs a little bit to an extent. And I'm not knocking anyone who's having a tough time at the moment, quite the opposite. But now is a great chance to reinvent ourselves, to be far more profitable, far more scalable than we were before. And actually, I think move up the food chain as well, because I can't think anything worse than waking up every day and just being an administrator of a recruitment product. I like the idea of walking into someone's boardroom and going, let's talk about your talent strategies for the next 6 to 12 months. Let's hold hands and go on a partnership journey together. That's the good bit of recruitment, I think, more so than just the administration side.
I couldn't disagree more, James. I prefer bottom feeding. I think you should be at the bottom, you know. They're the folks that survive, man. No, I joke. Okay, listen, there's obviously lots more to talk about. We're going to keep cracking on with this conversation, but I've noticed the time already. It's like 20 to 3. So obviously we are coming towards the midpoint and over of this show. I want to make sure, of course, Brainfood Live is never a conversation stopper. It should be a show that brings people together so you can continue to have conversations going forward, even when we do come off air. So now is a kind of a mini break in the middle of the show. You know what you got to do. Grab your LinkedIn URL, stick it in the chat stream if you're watching this on a Crowdcast. If you're watching this on any of the LinkedIns, which I believe there is a time delay on all of the LinkedIns, by the way, but stick your LinkedIn URL in the comment thread there and then just connect with everyone who's done the same. We've got loads of great recruitment business owners and operators in conversation here you're going to walk away with 10, 20, 30 different connections. That's going to really boost your network value as you go forward. I do believe in artificial intelligence. I think it's hugely significant, of course, for our business. But I also think collective intelligence is as important, if not more so. The more heavily connected you are, the better access you have to that collective intelligence. So go ahead and connect with everyone who's done the same. Okay, let's sort of segue into a different view. Let's have a look at the different sort of types of recruitment agent. Are we getting bigger or smaller? Let's be very frank on this. Exec search. We're talking about C-level exec search. Do those guys get bigger or smaller? Is there more demand for that style of recruitment in 2028, or is it staying the same? What are your thoughts? Louise, let's bring you in on this. I know you had a few things to say, but you're very polite not to bump in. But what are your thoughts on exec search? Do you think that's going to go bigger or smaller?
I started an exec search, and it felt then like a kind of like special artisan type of recruiting. And I think that, they're still using the same tools that everyone else is. They are not using AI and all the other technologies. So if by now we cannot easily find every single person in the world, then when are we ever going to? So I think that if we're still using exec search now, in 2 years' time, it surely will still exist. But it's become much more than just let me help you find that very difficult to find red squirrel. No, purple squirrel. It's already become that. And I think that if it's going to continue to be a very high fee effort, then that really is where the things like the talent pooling come in. You really do work with one client exclusively, totally understanding what they want. You are much more embedded in their business. That type of recruitment doesn't have to just be exec search, but they've been building talent pools for years. They've been helping clients understand what they really need in their business for years. I don't know whether there will come a point where these organizations say, we've got an internal talent force, we should be using them more. Maybe they should be hiring those people because they're closer to our decision makers within the organization. I can see James on the edge of his seat at this one.
No, I think you're right. I think we have a whole executive search subgroup within the TRN community, and I mean they're all flying at the moment. They're doing incredibly well, and they will continue to do so. I think the number of fundamental reasons: because they spend more time in their customers' boardrooms than they do in their meeting rooms, and therefore they are influencing and supporting on the talent journey. And let's be honest, we're all sitting here. The reason why we come on these calls with Hung and everything else, and we sort of subscribe to Hung's newsletters, because everyone's trying to figure out what the hell is going on and what does it look like in the future. All our customers are doing exactly the same thing. So they need a good community of talent experts around them to do so. And I think the executive search do that very well naturally as part of their process as much as anything else. So I think the executive search community is going to be around for a hell of a long time yet. And I think they're going to be adding different types of value players as well. We've got some of the members who work in executive search who probably make more money out of introductions where companies are going through an M&A process than they do through out of actually placing the COO there. Type of stuff, because they're having different conversations and different relationships. But the thing I've always dreamt about in our industry, when I started out in recruitment in Kalpesh many years ago, was we were trained, we were taught, we had a belief system that you were a recruitment consultant and you consulted with our customers. We've lost a lot of that over the years, naturally, because of the way the market's evolved. That now is going to become one of the most important skills in recruitment than ever before, which I think is brilliant. That moves us back up the food chain. I think margin, bizarrely, going to go up, even though we're going to have more tech and AI. I think we're going to see higher margin business coming through and down the pipe, because we're going to be offering a different level of service, and the recruiter of tomorrow is going to have a slightly different skill set than maybe before as well.
Very good, James. And I think, that sort of knowledge that exec search has cultivated over decades, that is something that I think they're very keen to, they're going to preserve that. I don't think they easily pipe all of that stuff into ChatGPT. I've already had a few conversations with exec search companies, and they do say, they're very reluctant to use something that isn't absolutely custom to them because they're scared of data leakage and IP leakage, because there's stuff that they know about the on the landscape that literally is not documented. This is like things that they've heard through very discrete conversations, and I think that remains. I am a bullish on exec search, I have to say, guys. I'd love to go like one-to-one to everyone, but we don't have the time, so we might have to just direct a sector to the person and then see how we go. What about the sort of high street agency? This is where there's one down my street. You walk in, it says personnel, get this person a job. How do they fit into this world? They've kind of sort of continued to keep going, even though, the world's gone online and so on and so forth. But that local high street recruitment agency, generalist on kind of all kinds of jobs, what does that look like in 2028? Any thoughts on that? Maybe Kalpesh, I know it's not your forte at all, but I'll ask you to speculate if you don't mind.
Yeah, I think high volume blue collar working or high volume low skilled working is probably the one that's going to get disrupted the hardest, because you can use technology and you can actually, everything's out there from WhatsApp to SMS, etc. I have friends that do high street recruitment. They do really well, actually, really well. So they are bucking the trend, but they've chosen good clients to work with. They're in a geographic location that's really hard to find people, so they become invaluable. But I think more generally, I think we've seen it over the last 10, 15, 20 years, the number of high street recruiters is reducing. It's not because of AI it's reducing all of a sudden. It's because that whole service element and how you deliver that job has changed. Reed had hundreds and hundreds of micro offices across the UK. They've consolidated down. Right? Hayes are reviewing their landscape at the moment. So I think what we're going to start seeing is, and in America, it's been the mom and pop agencies in all the different zones, right? Even that's changing the landscape because they're no longer required to be where the customers are. So technology is going to impact it. The margins are going to impact it in terms of how you do stuff and who you want to work with. And then I think the final bit is going to be it's going to come down to what do you actually offer to your clients that's more valuable than simply, here's 20 people that are going to be there tonight to drive your delivery vans for the morning.
Yeah, very, very good. Keith, I'm going to throw a slightly different angle to you because, again, you're a business owner and you probably may be thinking about this already. What about the sort of types of people that become recruiters? I came in really as an entry-level graduate person. I started off, doing the resourcing and all the way up. But is it the case now where we're seeing actually we want experienced recruiters only? We know there's a lot of skilled labor out in the market. Let's hoover up the skilled talent. Let's AI enable those people, and they're going to be super workers for us. And maybe that the career ladder at the bottom is no longer as it was. What are your thoughts on the age profile of the recruiters that will come into business in 2028?
Yeah. Fantastic question. And I'll just say to all of these segments, whether it's executive or the blue collar or things like that, first of all, I think some of it is regional and culturally. It's going to be different in central US versus the East Coast of US and certainly before 2028. But we can have all the AI and help and power in the world to source candidates and load up our recruiters with conversations. But if the candidates don't call us back or we don't have a high response rate, none of it matters. And so whether it's executive or blue collar or to the future psychographics, if you will, of our or psychometrics, if you will, of our recruiters, it's going to become more and more about relationships. And are people going to take my call? Are they going to call me back? Are they in my network? Do they know me, like me, and trust me? And so as much as I would say in my 30 years of recruiting, that I've seen it go from relationship to more analytical, more data focused as we got into our Boolean searches and trying to be creative in our sourcing techniques as the internet and LinkedIn came into play. It's almost maybe prediction going back heavier again to the relationship side and understanding the complexities of someone's career, understanding the complexities of an industry and getting more and more specialized to that relationship. So even though I've grown businesses before by hiring kids straight out of university and teaching them how to recruit, and they've done okay, I think we're going to see more and more season paying off here because it is going to become about the depth of the relationship. Someone's taking my call, especially, in my humble opinion, on the executive search side, right? Executive search is least to be replaced or overtaken by AI because it's going to come down to relationships.
Yeah.
I could have 1 million people in the database. If they don't pick up my call, there's nothing with it. And I think it's going to get more and more that way on the other side too. We might become almost like them and kind of career coaching them along. I think more relational in season and experience and understanding business.
No, thank you, Keith. Appreciate the observations there. I do agree. I think that basically the impact of AI is kind of disproportionately advantageous to existing domain experts that can then get to grips with AI. So the people that basically probably have the greatest challenge are those that are experienced but don't sort of embrace and go with the change, and on the other end of the sort of career path, people who are just coming into the world of work that maybe don't have the opportunity to learn the domain experience. I wonder whether there's no chance for them to learn some of the relationship skills that we're talking about. But these are society-wide problems. I'm not sure it's anybody's sort of any single business can actually solve them. But we should at least be conscious and cognizant of it. Okay, no worries, Keith. I'm like I say, I'm with you in spirit. I'm wrestling with the tech myself here, my friend. Okay. There's a very good question by Dana here. Let's go to that right away. If we summarize, then which skills become most crucial in 2028? And let's be very honest here. Let's not be cliched. What are the skills that we're currently doing that we think that, or the tasks or skills or behaviors that we're currently valuable in recruiting that we think will recede? And which ones do you think we really need to lean heavily into and train for? James, let's kick off with you.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's really, really simple. Our industry is a sales industry, always has been and always will be. And your ability to be a good salesperson in this type of market is critical. And sales is as much about client acquisition as it is about candidate acquisition. So when I look at all the skills that make a great salesperson in this type of marketplace where you've got access to all the insights and data that you need as a decision maker. So I don't need you to come in and tell me what's happening with the market, because I can probably find that out for myself in about 2.5 seconds before the meeting starts. I need you to influence my thinking and help me navigate that. So for me, this is bringing our industry back to a whether you like the word sales or otherwise, that's what we are as an industry. We have to sell jobs to candidates to jobs, et cetera, et cetera. It's all part of the process. So for me, it's sales. 100%, and all the nuances that go with that. And I'm not talking, by the way, to make it really clear, the old school sales that we used to hate and we still hate, etc. I'm talking about professional selling, proper consultative solution selling, walking into a customer with a blank piece of paper saying, let me really understand what's going on in your business and let's together build a solution that's fit for purpose for you moving forward. That proper sales skills. So that would be my number one.
No, that's really interesting, James. So I think recruitment went a bit technical, didn't it, over the last 10, 15 years or so? And we got sort of people very skilled at finding candidates, very skilled at using techniques to manipulate systems, and they had success. Maybe AI takes care of a lot of that these days and produces similar results without necessarily needing to develop those technical skills. We go back to those, as you say, sales skills that are going to be the premium as you go forward. Kalpesh, Baxi, what are the skills that recruiters need in 2028?
You know what, I'm going to agree just 100% with James, right? I came from a company where we were the master of 360 recruitment, right? That was our thing. You had to do everything to be able to do it. I think the future is compartmentalized jobs. So there's going to be an element of those 360 recruiters out there that, hunt and farm and deliver and do everything together. But I think sales and service is going to become clearer as we move forward with our industry. So sales is that whole relationship, new business development, relationships, land, expand, penetrate, all of that element that you can do. And service is all going to be around, well, how do I optimize and use technology to deliver CVs to a client, to match up to a job spec, to check the hallucinations that are coming out of ChatGPT job specs and ChatGPT CVs. So can Kalpesh Baxi really do that job he's applied for? And where's the evidence for it, even though CV's not there? And I think that the final part for me is we're a relationship industry. That's not going to change, right? It's not going anywhere else. So If you're a recruiter for the future that wants to survive, that is everything associated to the branch that comes under relationships. And by the way, sales, whether you want to call it old school or new school sales, is part of that. Think about the skills you need to procure, adapt, and get sharper at underneath that banner.
Yeah, very good, Kalpesh. Thank you very much. Keith, let's go with you. Skills. And again, as a person that's building a business, what skills are you hiring for in preparation for 2028?
I agree with James and Kalpesh on the sales side and 360 Recruiter. To add something different, I will say the skill of being empathetic. I think we're going to be so overwhelmed with AI and tech, and candidates are already getting it. And by 2028, I can only imagine they're going to be hungrier for that human connection and for someone that actually cares about them and understands their situation, good, bad, job-wise, professionally, personally. I think because of the increasing tech, we're going to need more humans and true natural empathy. And so as much as I want people that have grit and drive and go get it like we've always wanted in the recruitment space, I think empathy is going to be a really important skill to differentiate.
Yeah, really, really good point. And I think those human skills do come in. There is some not ambiguity, but I would say it's not entirely clear how that connects to the business ops and how we measure people and stuff like this, but probably we need to evolve those things as well. Okay, Louise, let's bring you in on this. What are your thoughts? 2028 skills for recruiters. What do we need to be successful in that era?
I love the idea that one of the KPIs for the future recruiter will be how good a human are you? and that's it. And I agree with all of you. I think you have to be able to listen, you have to be able to sell, you have to be able to understand, you have to be able to really identify the stuff that the tech can't identify. And if that were a KPI of being a proper human being, then that would make me very happy.
That's great stuff, Louise. Okay, let's move on. We're gonna try and get. I think Nick's already gone on a school run. I was gonna bring him on at the end. I should have brought him at the beginning. But never mind. We'll crack on with that in another time. Let's regroup on this, folks, because I think we want to make sure we center the conversation in the recruitment agency world. What do you think in the short term? 6 months down the track, we talk about 2028, but there's pathways to go there first. If I'm running a recruitment agency today, what sort of decisions do I need to make sure I'm fully prepped for this future that we've described? If you could sit yourself back in the sort of the CEO shoes of a recruitment agency, what other things should be on your to-do list? James Osborne.
I literally, Louise didn't turn up at my presentation yesterday. She was too busy waiting for Ben Fogel to arrive at the expo. But I actually mentioned this and talked about this in my presentation. It goes directly back to, I think it was Keith's point, which is you start with your customers first and your market first. There's a lovely expression, which I'm sure you've all heard, which is the Wayne Gretzky quote. I think someone said it's not Wayne, but it's one of the Gretzky family, which is go to where the puck is going. We at the moment we've been in a bit of a survival mode, let's be honest, in many cases. We are pedaling and we're looking down, trying to keep going. We've got to stop and look forward, and we've got to work out where the hell our markets, our customers are going in the next 2 to 3 years. Our product and our service offering will then align to that. Our service delivery will align to that. Our sales strategy will align to that as well. So the key for me is, if I was running a recruitment business today, this is exactly what we're doing with all the members that we're working with at the moment, is saying in the next sprint up to Christmas, we've got 65 days or so until Santa comes down the chimney, all that sort of good stuff, is you need to understand what your market is going to look like in 2 to 3 years' time. If you understand that, then you can basically go to where the puck is going. And that to me is critical. You can there's all sorts of ways of working out. Talk to your customers, obviously. We've built some AI agents that actually analyze your market for you. I'm happy to stick that in the chat if that would help. And people can have a little click on it and play with it. And you type in your market and it will tell you where the puck is going in your market. But just do something to understand where it's going. Stop looking down, start looking forward. It's critical, because that makes a significant impact on every decision you make going forward after that.
Yeah, fantastic stuff. Kalpesh, real quick, what's your advice to recruitment agency owners, like to-do list to get prepped for 2028?
Okay, so I'm not going to repeat anything James has put in, but that is all valuable advice. And I'd advise everyone, go and get his tool, because actually it does work. I'm going to keep it really simple, right? If you're a leader of a recruitment company today, doesn't matter where you are in the world, get out of your office, get in front of your customers. And as I said, customers, not clients, right? Because candidates are as important as clients, particularly if you're going to go and do those high-end markets, niche markets. You need to know where the money's coming from in the future. In the next 6 months, if you did nothing else but get through Christmas and your sandwiches, right? Go and get in front of your customers and understand where you are going to add value to be sticky with them long term, to get more revenue out of those customers, and actually be the supplier of choice when they walk into their boardroom. They go, "They're my trusted advisor."
Yeah, very, very good. Old school stuff, but
Great
it's
point.
timeless. Keith, final word to you. Advice to yourself, I guess. I mean, what do you remind yourself
Yeah.
as CEO of the business? Like, what is it you got to be doing and making sure you're keeping the ship at the right place so you can be there in 2028?
Yeah, I love all the advice so far, especially the Gretzky quote being Canadian born. And so thank you for that. Go where the puck is going. And also, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. I think another great Gretzky quote. But I will say, fix the process before you try to automate. And that's one thing that I'm definitely focused on right now. We started agentic solutions a couple of years ago, but we didn't take the time to fix the process or really ask the question as to what do our customers, to use CalPESH's candidates and clients, need out of this. And then I'm going to build the AI or automation to help improve it. And then the second question that I'm focused on right now, in addition to everything everyone else said, is what data do we need? And so AI is not, and the future of recruiting is less and less and less about keyword matching. And although I believe in skill-based hiring, I think the behavior side of it is still a critical part to this. And so what data do we need to make it successful?
Fantastic stuff. Thank you very much, everybody. Okay, that's it. We have to come off air. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the show. James Osborne, Kalpesh Baxi, Keith Langbo, thank you so much for being here. Louise, thanks for being co-pilot. I actually can't switch this live stream off because I have no access to controls. So folks, we're going to have to just leave off your own accord.
Oh, I will do it. I will do it for you. But I wanted to thank you. Ben Fogel drank out of my mug yesterday.
Oh, I don't want to hear about this. This is getting a little bit too fangirly for me. But listen, Louise, thanks for joining. I really appreciate you being here for me. Really useful. Obviously, you've got some technical stuff to go on. And I wonder whether you could have a word and help me out.
I will. I'll end this show now and we'll scoot off screen and I'll go and sort it.
All right. See you later, everyone. See you next week.
Bye-bye.
No, you can't end it.
I can.
It's unendable.
We're going.